close to him right now. And Smite is just the best, tool for this right now because there's no druid here who can moonfire it. Like Smite has the best shot at getting a Sarkoth on a fresh server. So, hardcore Community Cup 3 server first Sarkoth, man. Epic.
And I think remind me of this. Like, there's like a lesser chance to resist in mobs that are like 1 to 5, if I'm not mistaken. Like there's like some weird mechanic. It might be that that's a melee thing, but like there's some weird mechanics in terms of like low level mobs when it comes to resist and hit tables. If I'm not.
That doesn't sound wrong. That doesn't sound wrong at all. But the other thing, that's another thing too, right? Like Holy doesn't have a. Is that an elemental fire? Is that a Holy based attack?
Level 2?
That'd be the thing too, because Holy doesn't have like the resistance tree resistance available to it.
Correct.
Which is that's another thing too. Like just considering those types of things while you're leveling.
Smite
like what
Priest actually might kind of pipe. I don't know. Is that
maybe no
is
no.
that how you level Priest? I actually don't. I don't know if anyone's ever bothered to theory craft the fuck out of Priest just because of
I guarantee you Tactics has. I guarantee you Tactics has. This dude goes so hard with the leveling. I'm actually really excited to see what he does with it. To put Priest in a big brain speed leveler's hands to see what they can do.
Priest is not the fastest to 20. It's the slowest.
So looking at him right now, he has his auto shot timer on a Priest. He didn't take that off. That's funny. Right above the swing timers.
No, that's for one though. Yeah, it works for one.
Does
so.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So as soon as he gets up there, is he gonna go for the enchanting? Is that the way to go for Priest? You go for the enchanting route early on, and just farm the linen, or what's the play? I'm not familiar with the.
We'll have to see. I mean, all you really need is cloth to craft a wand. It takes a little bit of time, unfortunately, but.
That was another thing I too I had a debate about was like again how much does that play into like the warlocks or in caster leveling if they're spending the time to do these to get the wand. Like I know the wand is big, but we even saw a contender. One of the dudes we were kind of like goofing at a little bit late game last time. I think it was last cup. It was he's sitting there at the end straight up like life draining tanking the mobs. You're like, why is he not wanding it? Because he's like, I didn't get a wand.
You didn't get a wand.
You remember that? And like he did really well. So just looking at some of the possible outcomes based on is it worth the time? And I think if you end up in a bad way where you're spending too much time working on professions, it's just bad. I think it's just bad. And again, like it's just something you gotta assess for what class you're playing and try to determine if it's worth for you. In your class or your leveling route or what you're doing to spend the time on those professions. I don't think it is for the press competition like this. That's just my personal opinion.
Depends on the caster though. I think for Priest, so much of Priest damage and efficiency comes from that. So
you get the 25% wand damage, right? Which is like the huge.
Exactly. Which is just so massive. Like I really doubt that you'd want to go without it. Plus the early wands are really.
One thing you can do too, if you are able to pump fast enough through the early levels, you can buy the first vendor wand. That's what Aladar did last time. He just totally decided to opt out of crafting his own wand, and he just bought the first vendor wand called Scorched Wand or something. I think it's a white wand. You can use it at like 16 or 15 or something like that. So he might go with that.
And then there are the early wand quests, right? Like it's as early as Dark Shore for Alliance, and it's fairly early on. It's like first loop Dark Shore.
Horde, there's not much on the Horde side though.
Yeah, Horde you have to wait till it's like
Ishawa quest.
Second loop Barons.
Yeah, it's second loop Barons. You have to kill the sea manatee or something in the water, and after doing that long ass chain, and you get the
and it's so late that there's also I believe the Goblin. There's like that the Goblin Escort gives you one as well, but that's such a bitch to do. I really wouldn't want to do that in a hardcore challenge at all. Like that Escort is just so fishy, especially at the levels where that one is effective. I'd imagine that for Horde you probably wouldn't want to go for the purchased one. That being said, like if I were rolling Undead, I don't know, Undead just has such good access to linen cloth early on. Like you might have enough linen to do it by like 10, even if you're not trying to. Like so long as you have the bag space to get by.
Absolutely.
How does bag space come into this though? Like do people like make bags or they buy?
You just have to buy it, man. You have to buy it. It's the only way. No auction house or anything, right? So you're just gonna have to buy some 6 slots, maybe an 8 slot, but it's stretching it, right? 25 silver. So one thing you're gonna see though, North, is because after the competition it's all over, you have to really kind of aggressively spend your money in this competition, right? Buy as much moon juice as possible, ice cold milk, whatever, because that money's going to do nothing for you once it hits the 8 hours is done, right? So at the last competition, we saw everybody with like 60 moonberry juice in their bag towards the end of the competition because they were just
to unload,
just pumping the moonberry after every pull, spending as aggressively as possible. We see Quissy here though, off to a good start on the Paladin. You love to see it that she's back and giving it another shot. She did really well. She didn't die in her first Hardcore Cup last month.
I think she got 16 last time, but she also last time took the time to do all the professions as well because she was doing alchemy and stuff and had this collection of potions and those type things. I think the biggest thing though is maybe a correction on that, whether to just not push as hard on the professions or to just do a little bit better with weapon progression. Having weapon progression as a melee is just huge. It's unbelievably huge. Knowing where to get those vendor weapons and not hesitating to get them when they're there is going to be the game changer for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Checking in with the one of the crowd favorites here. You know him, you love him. The Prince of Mulgore.
You love to see it.
I love Mulgore as a starter. Can I gush over Mulgore?
Go gush over Mulgore.
What a beautiful, well-made, like efficient zone. Like it carries the fuck out of so much in Torrent, and it's so nice. Like regardless of its efficiency, I don't know if it ranks that high.
It's pretty efficient, especially on a real fresh, man, because it's not congested. I mean, on a real fresh,
exactly. That's my thoughts about it, right? There's so few Torrent players usually that it is like relative to everything else. It's not crowded like turrets are, or or Tears Fall. So it feels pretty good, and I love the zone. I personally, it's one of my favorite starters.
I actually think Mulgore is
obviously
pretty efficient.
I'm a big Dun Moreau fan because I'm obviously like I'm known left, right, and center, but Mulgore comes in at a close second.
Really, second place, yeah. I mean, like I said before on stream many times, Mulgore was the very first zone I ever jumped into. Very first character ever was a Tauren Warrior on the normal realm Illyria, and I just jumped in here, and it was during the winter time, and I saw some players around me making the gingerbread cookies, collecting eggs, and I'm like, dude, what is this world that I'm playing right now? And I just, again, that's where my life pretty much wrapped up right there, 2004. Yeah, I mean, Grays for days. No stranger to Mulgore, as we like to tease him about it, but he has died many times in Mulgore.
Mulgore is a dangerous
hundreds
zone,
of times,
that is
maybe.
True. Mulgore is a dangerous zone.
It is, especially for Grays for days, because people like to call him Blaze for days because he likes to pull. He likes to pull very, aggressively. I have to say, streaming and doing hardcore is kind of a recipe for disaster, though. Like if you're streaming and talking to chat, I don't know if you feel the same way, Doc. And at least for me, sometimes I'll be talking with chat about something spicy, and that's the time where you're gonna get your ass killed, man.
There is times where I'm doing that and I'm looking over and I hear that boop, like the low health, and I'm like, what the? And like I'm jumping back over trying to figure out what it is. I'm like, hold on, don't, I can't read, I gotta focus.
Yep. So yeah, I've definitely seen a couple Grays runs where he's died to these starting area Cougars, so it's good to see him still hanging in there. So look at him pulling 2 at a time, bro. Just Blaze for days. Half health pulling 2 Cougars. Last competition.
Oh, the resist. He's gonna get low here from this actually. He's got the heal. He has no mana for the heal actually.
Yeah, no, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine.
He'll be fine. These things die in like 2 hits.
So I want to pull up this.
You got me. I can't actually see his. I couldn't actually see his health because you're coming over it. So I'm sitting here like I hype myself up. I'm like, oh shit. Let's go.
Let me show you his arch nemesis. So the I think the real nail biter was let me see. What's his Twitch again? It's Classic Voy.
You should probably move the timer somewhere just so it doesn't cover the nameplates on default UI.
That's a good idea. Oh my god, another ad, dude. I'm running all kinds of ad blocks right now. Can I run multiple? I'm just gonna run 3 ad block extensions. I'm running 2 at the same time.
Cargo's trying to dodge every ad in existence.
We're doing an event here, man. Come on now. But yeah, this enjoy this lovely Omen ad for a second. I actually bought an Omen. Yeah, because I was sick of of me always breaking my freaking computers. I always built computers. But anyway, so here's Classic Voy. This was the real nail biter matchup last competition because all the hunters died. So Zarenth had a really big lead, which is another huge brain hunter who hopefully is playing in this competition. We'll check in a second. But the real nail biter came down to the Druid class lead because North, you actually get a prize if you're first for your class as well. So it's not just the top 3 overall. There's an incentive to do well on your respective classes, and it really came down to the wire between Graze for Days and Classic Void last time. So as you can see, this is a Night Elf Druid versus a Tauren Druid. So you have that like kind of faction rivalry there. And check out this. Oh, move the timer. Yeah, good call. Check this out though. Check out this graphic. It's kind of funny. Someone made this. I don't know if Grace made it or whatever, but it reminds me of the. Reminds me.
It. Dude, he's got the good graphic. You see his little like badge for hardcore as well. Like, it's legit.
Reminds me of one of those
really
fight
what
nights.
some people have done with that.
Yeah, the Pacquiao Mayweather, Grace for Days versus Classic Voice. So we'll be checking in with them.
I'm so sad about though. I'm so sad. I was really looking forward to having you guys on. Just as like a tangent, I was really looking forward to you guys being on Grobulus, transferring over. I'm really sad that fell through and like in the 11th hour.
Did it? I don't even know if it did.
Grob is sealed off from the outside. You can't transfer.
Oh.
It's the only server of its population that doesn't have layering right now because it's an RP server and they can't layer it.
Bro, I'm out of the loop. Layering is back for sure.
Reasons. Yeah, Layering's back.
Yeah, certain servers, yeah.
Layering came back on all the Hypop servers.
Hold up. Is this true? Confirm chat? Layering is back?
Because all the queues they're getting because everybody's home with COVID playing, man.
Not with
Going
world
deep.
not with world bosses though, right?
No, with world bosses. There are like several world bosses spawn in 2 batches a week. Like one on each layer.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's fucked.
Hold up. Isn't that a big deal? How come nobody's reading?
It is a big deal. Because everyone was raging about the queues.
Didn't they say they were never going to do that because of world bosses? They said we're never going to do layering.
And that's why the naysayers, I remember being like, guys, let's be reasonable. Of course they're not going to use it again. They said that they wouldn't. They're not just going to lie.
Yeah, they said they wouldn't.
There's no reason to not take them at their word. They said they wouldn't. Like,
I thought there would be bigger of a splash than that. Nobody's even saying anything. You're saying that
No,
the world
no one's
bosses,
complaining.
the world bosses
world
are
bosses
layered.
are 100% layered, and like Grizzly, like I'm in their world boss Discord, right? Because I'm an ex-Grizzler.
What?
And they have twice the scouts now. People scout on either layer. Like it's the same thing as it was like when I was doing Title Charm in Phase 1, right? Like you have 2 world bosses to scout. When you scout the one layer, you have to then like maintain an alt on the other layer, so that you can make sure that it's going to spawn where you're at.
Nobody's freaking out about this, even in the chat. I guess this is so.
That's what it is.
Man,
But queues were up to 6 hours on these servers, so people just wanted to play, right? Even if it's not like most people don't care about the world bosses, and the turbo neats are going to be on all day regardless. It's a bitch on Grob though. Grob is a queue now, and we have no layers, which is good that we have no layers. But like it's been kind of tough because sometimes like I like my guild plays later in the day. During peak times, and that's when we raid. So like it's been tough sometimes getting the ZGs together just because the lads sometimes log on a little late.
damn.
So we'll be like filling pug slots in because of how many like how long the queue was like 2 hours, but the queue's settled down pretty much. It's usually only like 30 minutes now, even at peak times.
I have to say, man, it kind of feels bad, but I do think the trust is sort of severed with Blizzard in some ways because it just almost feels like, by the way everything panned out, that nothing is off the table with them. Like when they make a commitment to something and they say we're not going to do this or that, you don't really take it that seriously anymore. At least I don't. If they actually are doing,
That just means we're not going to do it for right now. That's what that means. Like we're not doing it in the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Somebody will probably pull it up and prove me wrong.
It's sad seeing the company that Blizzard was, and like having them just erode that trust. Ever so slightly, in small steps and in big steps over time, because they were the golden boy for so long, and now you have other golden boys that are kind of rising up, and Blizzard look more and more like EA every day.
Yeah.
Right on that sort of spectrum of you have the hardcore defenders of Blizzard where you don't really have that for EA as much, just because people have grown up on their games and their games are better. They're a great company at making games, or at least they used to be. So it is such a sad thing to see. hopefully they can buy back a little bit of that trust with Shadowlands, but it's they'd have to have, maybe, and this is kind of pushing it, but maybe 2 expansions that aren't dog shit in a row, just throwing that out there. Maybe don't have a WOD and a BFA interspersed between teams. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the B team that does expansions just isn't working out, so maybe they should get more people.
Well, people are saying that they
didn't
didn't expect Corona in 6-hour queues. Isn't that not the issue, though? The way I'm understanding it is that it was more of like a snowball effect of the servers being imbalanced, that like a couple servers got massive queues and other servers died, right? So
Corona's caused the queue storm, though, right? Like
I think the Corona did, yeah.
There's way more people playing, you think?
Yeah, there are way, well, like, and playing consistently, right? Playing every single day of the week.
For hours and hours and hours. Like, you're like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know, I'm just gonna log in, play. That's what people do when they got time. When you're a gamer, you play games.
World of Warcraft's a hell of a way to lose yourself in a pandemic. I mean, that's a good way to pass the time.
Yeah, and like people in my guild, like, people don't log on in my guild until like fucking like that ass like 8 o'clock at night. And they don't log off until like 6 o'clock in the morning. We like peak our membership in like at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I swear to fucking God, like, I just have a bunch of degenerates in my guild. I love it. But it's weird to see everyone else like behaving the same as the turbo needs.
The turbo.
Yeah, dude, seeing that stuff is just kind of crazy too, because like I'm home here and my missus is like she's like going nuts, like I don't know what to do, da 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 blah blah blah. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm fine. Like, I could do this forever. Like, I'm good. Like, I left the house twice in the last month.
Weird. It's weird for some people, though. Some people really aren't, like, some people really can't hang in that kind of environment. Like, some people really, like, it's I joke about it, and like, I say sometimes it's hard to be a NEET, but for some people it legitimately is like a very difficult thing, just playing video games all day long and like keeping yourself like entertained with just like your access to the internet. Some people find that very challenging. Not having that social interaction, not having that outside world, like,
it's true.
Whereas, like in an apocalypse situation, my dude, so long as the fucking Blizzard servers aren't going down, like, I'm chilling, dude. I'm tight. And when the Blizzard servers go down, Shenna and Krage are gonna fucking roll up on the scene trying to make a quick buck, even after human
they gotta
society
find
is fucking
some
collapsing.
Vacation time.
Yeah. So I mean, realistically, the private servers will rise when the society collapses. So we're chilling, dude. We're chilling ultimately. Also, cool fun thing. Not super on topic, but there's whispers of a WildStar private server that's close to getting up and running.
WildStar, huh? Did you play WildStar, dude?
I did. I didn't play it like to max level. I played it with my friends, and then my friends quit. At like I think we were like halfway to max. And but it was such a cool game. Like, I feel so bad for all this, and I know we talk about this a lot, Cargos. Whenever you and I are in the same room, we always talk about like MMOs, and just the state of MMOs. But it really sucks. So many MMOs releasing in the years when WoW was palatable, at least like retail was palatable to the point where they couldn't succeed.
Oh, like that Warhammer one too. That was actually pretty fun.
Yeah. Warhammer releasing when WoW was really sort of in its heyday, right? WildStar and Ion releasing when and these are solid games. These are good games that if you release them nowadays, even with the same graphics that they have, even with the same systems, they would succeed because there's just so little in the market. So little trust in Blizzard, right? So many people just looking for another game to the point where we're doing hardcore challenges, which is fun, but we're creating our own fun out of a game, using it as a template rather than having the content served up for us,
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to think about, though.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Yeah, I leveled the max on WildStar, but then pretty much just I don't actually remember what happened. We leveled the max and then just stopped playing for some reason.
The raids were like the raids were like 40 man, and they were really hardcore. So it's like a lot of people were turned off by and the attunements were really challenging. And I think the reason ultimately why it died, people point out a couple of reasons to me. One, they say the game was marketed pretty poorly, like it wasn't marketed well, which sucks. It's a reason for it to fail. But the second thing, and I think this is the bigger reason, it didn't appeal to casuals enough, right? It really was like aimed at a hardcore audience. And it had those hardcore audiences, but games survive based on like the middle 50%, I think, always, right? Because you need like those people who are at the top, who are like always striving to do the best and min-max everything and be the best of the best of the best of the best, right? They prey on the economy, and they sometimes exploit the game, and they're pushing things to their limit, and there's sometimes a place for that. But when you have two people doing that, right? And not enough people feeding that economy and feeding the game generally.
Dude, it kills a lot of aspects of the game.
Yeah, it murders.
That's like
the hardcore players don't have anyone to kill either, because ultimately, right? You think it'd be nice, like, oh, so you have like 2,000 active like hardcore players in the server. You think that'd be a ton of fun, but then you don't have like, there's no cannon fodder, right? And there always
it's ruthless. It's ruthless to like the economics. If you don't want to neckbeard yourself into like making thousands of gold, you're screwed. Like Skyrim is pseudo screwed for that. Like our mongoose pots are like 6 to 7 gold right now. Our flasks are 200 to 300 gold depending.
And
like
you go on even more sweaty servers. You go on like white mage.
It's obnoxious.
Going for 300 gold or something like that. Right?
It's not even fun.
It's gross. The game wasn't designed to support as many people playing as sweaty as possible, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's one of those things you're saying fodder, but you need some middle ground players. You need some more casual players. You need some people that are pumping some of those things into the economy that are going to be there. They need money, but they don't have time to farm. They get a lucky drop, and you're able to make a few coin on the auction house, whatever stuff like that. Or they're doing different things that are providing an opportunity for the other players to get them and not have to be, like you said, so sweaty.
Big true. You guys have been asking about the rules real quick. I just popped them up right here. Here are the broad strokes rules. You have 1 life is the main thing. No auction house or trading, so it's kind of solo self-found gearing rules. And no grouping out in the open world. The interesting thing is you can run dungeons as well, which is a lot of fun. It's a lot of people's favorite aspect of hardcore, being able to run dungeons. We haven't seen that in any tournament before, and I think that's mainly due to not being able to, set that up in time and quick enough. Because I don't know what you guys think about this. If you could do a dungeon really, really quick and just crank it out, especially on the Horde side with RFC right there in Orgrimmar, it seems 100% worth it. I mean, 100%. If you could just jump in, crank out 4 dungeon quests. Right.
Oh yeah, and not only that, if you get lucky and you grab like a weapon and you grab something else early on, you're going to be able to.
I think the issue
just leverage that.
Yeah, I think the issue is just like, when it comes down to the dynamic in the group itself, right? Like, it's one thing if you're grouping with non-hardcore players, but you're grouping with hardcore players, everyone's looking out for number one. So, like, some shit goes down, the mage isn't running in, frost noving, trying to, like, polymorph another mob and, going in full hand to save the day. He's like, he turns around, he's like, oh, fuck. He's just fucking
just bounce.
Like, you can't even trust your group mates at that point. So I feel like that's...
You could also sabotage each other. You can, honestly...
Yeah. Oh my god, you could just pull everything like Nova on top of someone and run the fuck out.
Honestly, you really could.
You'd be dirty to do that.
I would live for that.
You would kind of be a legend, though. Imagine you guys...
That would be the funniest thing.
Alright guys, we're gonna have a great run. Like, how's everyone doing today? Good afternoon. Like, I'm really excited for this. You get down to the first pack of trogs down there, and then the priest just Shadow Word pains everything and runs out.
The quick cheeky fade, dude. You're sitting there. You're like, oh, what?
The warrior starts to pull, and you go and just tag everything else around it. See ya, and you could probably make it out in time. Whole group wipes. That would be insane. That's probably why people.
Let's not encourage poor behavior. I think that would be like hilarious, but that would also be awful at the same time.
Well, I'd be here for it, dude. I'd do the drama. I live for the.
This was kind of the tinfoil hat thing. Well, maybe we can pull up the clip in a little bit north. Last Hardcore Community Cup, there was this Phantom Paladin that kept getting people killed. Maybe no one knew if it was on purpose or not, but pretty much what you can do as a paladin is you pull a bunch of mobs and they leash to you, and then you kind of like wrap around another person and wait for them to be in combat as well. And then if they're in combat and you're kind of wrapped around behind them and you bubble, for some reason those mobs won't just reset, they'll go to that other person.
Yeah, it's really weird the way the threat works in Classic in terms of just like things will leash off even if you're not in combat with it sometimes.
To
if
other
the mob's
players.
close enough, it will just leash on another player. It's
other players, bizarre. Man.
And we had some heartbreakers. There were people that were just minding their own business, single target, mage frostbolting, 1 knoll at a time by Hager. Remember that, Dakin? Like,
yeah. He just got blap, like gang, and he got like jump, man, like, yo, let's get him. It's run over like
10 knolls all around him all of a sudden, and you see this paladin jumping off away, and people were like, the paladin got him killed.
That's definitely on purpose.
Dude, that was rough
fucking
to watch.
riding off into the night, dude.
Yep, and it happened
But other
again
rider,
too. It happened to
yeah.
Crix. Crix was on the road of Lochmadan. He was literally like, kind of AFK, looking at his next move. All of a sudden, on the road, a bunch of kobolds come out of nowhere and just kill him dead on the road. And the same paladin jumping off with his red linen shirt, like in the distance. People
You know, take my candle, my dude. I mean, they're serious about that.
I think Crix's
sold
biggest
fire.
drawback was not watching that he wasn't out of combat. Like he ran back to the road and thought he was good, but
Yep.
he didn't watch like to see that he was out of combat.
That's a big true.
Like that feels bad on that one there. But like, dude, that's something like I've told people as I'm leveling up. I'm like, man, when other players start like coming into the area that I'm in, I'm like, yo, what are they doing? What the F are they doing? Like, they need to get out of here. Like, man, like I'm out. I'll leave. I'm out. Like, I get away sometimes because, dude,
Narc.
it's like they're gonna get you killed. Either they're gonna screw up the respawns, or they're gonna dump something on you, or they're gonna run by with like 15 mobs. Like, they don't care. They just want to get out of the cave. They run out of the cave and die. They're all right with that. I'm not. All those mobs they died to come back to me. I'm like, I'm out.
Yep.
Which is another huge, like, here's the thing too. Here's a super high value item, man. You guys, if you're leveling and you're trying to get that, that nifty stopwatch, you got to be hawking on those vendors while you're leveling up to get that gyro whatever engineering thing, man. I spent hours looking for that bad boy on Zool and I never got it, and I finally found one on my new dude. And then top that off, dude, the swiftness recipe, man, the swiftness pod recipe. Oh, it's so money. I got double sprint now.
That is pretty money. That was kind of the blessed run, man. I thought you were gonna make it. No joke. A part of me, I'm not gonna lie, is a little bit low key glad that you got killed though, just because it was gonna seem like it was just a piece of cake. You went in first character, one shot everything, like no problem,
wanted to have that.
like
I wanted
like
to have
just
that 'cause I-
hardcore challenge, easy clap, like no problem, dude. What is
What's
this?
the big
little-
deal, boys? What's the problem? I did it on my first try. Like, I wanted to say that so bad. I was probably never gonna do another character because I could always die.
Right.
But yeah, I get what you're saying, man. I get it.
Just a little bit. It was a little bit. Like 1% of me was like, he got humbled by the hardcore, man.
0% of me wanted him to get humbled, dude. 10 grand on the line, man.
Oh,
Come on,
true,
dude.
true.
Fucking walking into the
true.
Hive Queen's cave, man. Walking into Hive Queen's cave, 10 grand on the dude. I'm Lucario's, man. I would have been grinding bears and fell.
Well, the thing is, the day before that, I'd run out of quests that were really good, so I spent like 6 hours grinding Undead and Plaguelands to get a whole level, and then I came back and I was like, I'm gonna go hit this quest, and then I'm gonna start Plaguelands quest, and
ooh,
that was it.
You were in the fucking sweet spot, dude. You were in the you were in the victory lap, my dude.
Absolutely.
We'll get it this time though.
So let's see. Here's Tactics. Again,
Tactics
one of our
is
front
5.
runners. He's got, a bunch of water, a bunch of food. That's nice to see. He has a couple different ranks of heal on his bars. Not much to
He's
go
the front
off
runner
right now.
Priest is early level, so that's strong.
Small black pouch, though. Small black pouch. Oh man, that's definitely a drop right there. No way you can buy a small black pouch. So on the blessed scale, this is pretty blessed of a run so far. About a 7
Look how
out of
many
10.
grades he has too in that small pouch. He's got some weapons as well. He's chilling. No auto vendor.
Wait, I didn't
oh no, he has
know
no
there was a
vendor. He has
priest
no vendor.
So-
quest at this level.
So here's the thing,
That shows
though.
how little know about
These
priest
levels.
quest. What the fuck?
These levels. Oh yeah, he's talking about the priest quest. Yeah, the priests get a free green, which is pretty cool. Outside of it's pretty much a free quest.
Delivery.
You just go talk to a guy and I think you heal him or fort him right outside of Razor Hill, and you get just like a free quest and a green, which is kind of nice. I think it's like a 1 spirit robe or something like that. But here's the levels where priest kind of drags through. And if any priest players are out there, you'll probably be able to back me up on this.
Ooh, he's got a minor healing pod as well, dude. That's pretty fucking blessed.
That's a
dude.
guaranteed.
Holy shit.
That's a guaranteed, Joe, from one of the quests you get here in the Valley of
Oh,
Trials.
okay. See, I'm not a horde player. I'm not one with the Zug.
Yep. So that's the one guaranteed thing that if you come in contact with like a elite, like or not elite, one of the rare spawn guys that slap pretty hard, like High Warlord Kulkanis or the guy in the Marine Keep. That's kind of your get out of jail free card. You're guaranteed at least one. Now, if you want to go the super safe route, on hardcore, you would pretty much go do Solvent Spirit right now and just knock it out. It's not the most efficient pathing, but you'll get sticky glue from it, and that'll just make you that much safer against everything. Because each one of those things is like a get out of jail free card, and over the course of the next 8 hours, if you wanted to use it early so you could play more aggressively, that might be a line to explore. So we'll see what he wants to do here. If he's going to go to Senju now and pick up the quest, or if he's going to go there later.
Having those get out of jail free cards is a huge deal. I mean, they just being able to get away from like a minor miscalculation or being able to get away from like a respawn or an unpleasant circumstance is just game changing, and especially if your class doesn't have a lot of the ability to escape based upon the class you're playing. So just having those little safety nets are huge, I think.
Doc, and when your chat told you not to do the Ungrow quest, why did you ignore them?
No, dude, like I don't know. I don't know if it was that day they said it or not, but like there's sometimes like don't do it, don't do this, or don't do that, and like I don't know. Maybe just
you're just your own man. You're just
like, dude, I didn't drag ass the whole way there, dude. I did elite quests, I did hard quests, I did cave quests, I did quests that were higher than me. I did like the whole thing, man. Like I was clicking off buffs from other players. I did no world buffs. Like I was going hard for it. And it just it's gonna haunt me, man. It's gonna haunt me. Oh, dude. But all in all, still, man, the challenge is great. And I encourage anybody out there from the chat, if you haven't done it, even for like a self like personal challenge to go after trying to do a hardcore character, by all means, guys, it is a new next level. It's next level.
It's so good to hear you say that, man, because I know you're a little skeptical to start, as everyone should be, right? You're just like, what is this kind of like, fun mode or whatever you're talking about, you know what I'm saying? But like it's some challenges, like for me, like I was gonna do that Lord of the Rings challenge, that Lord of the Rings challenge, but a part of those types of challenges, like the Lord of the Rings challenge, is like you're kind of not playing the game. You're playing some kind of RP event. Like the cool thing about hardcore is you're basically just playing the game as you normally would and level a character, but you're doing so with finesse, and all the incentives are aligned so that you're able to demonstrate that skill and appreciate that skill. It ends up being a lot of fun. But it's good to hear you say that, Doc.
Has anyone made it to 60 yet?
Yep, we have.
Someone has to.
4 verified 60s now. 4.
Very nice.
4? Who? Wait, what classes are there? I know there was a priest or 2 that were there.
2 priests.
Gotta be some mages in there.
No mages. No mages.
We have the 259s.
2 priests,
shorts, dude.
a rogue, a warrior, and yeah, that's it. 2 priests, a rogue, and a warrior.
Imagine a hardcore molten core.
Be insane.
All paladins.
Only way that would ever happen, though, is if Blizzard made an official server for it, because nobody's risking it that much in there. So Aladar's off to a good start, level 5 already on the Warlock, doing great. Just undead Warlock, very classic looking. I like his UI too. Big fat chunky dot tracker right there above the nameplate, so he can make sure he gets good value from his dots. That's a pretty clean setup.
Big gamer UI.
Yep. Aladar is...
Holy hell, those are big ass fucking dots.
Right?
What the hell?
Those are some...
Definitely a leveling UI, right? Wouldn't want that in raid, but looks nice with the leveling.
Yeah, Dustbone in the chat right now, he actually got level 60 as well. I think on his first try. No, I think he might have died once before on a rogue, but that's on a troll rogue. He seemed to be enjoying it too. So yeah, everybody give it a shot if you haven't already. I think it's the ultimate leveling achievement. It is tough, man. It can be demoralizing too, and I'm not gonna lie, that's been a part of me feeling a little bit of burnout, because you can only die so many times on a hardcore character before it starts to get to you. You're just like, damn, I need a little bit of a break from this, because it's not so. I admire you, for your resilience, Doc, and you just die a heartbreaker like that, and you just jump right back into it, same class.
Well, I mean, he's gotta have someone to distract himself from looking in the mirror. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can only look at that eyebrowless face so many times before you fucking have to go distract yourself.
I just it's like me though, like you said, like a lot of things I think too, like all or nothing. Like my wife always says that. She's like, oh, you're all or nothing. Like when you do something, you're always into it. And I'm like, I started this journey and like kind of was like, I'm just gonna screw around with it or whatever. And then I just got sucked in as I was getting further and further. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm like neglecting other shit I should be doing for like in game to try and get this done. Like when I get the challenge done, like I'll have to take a little break from doing the hardcore stuff, but like I'll definitely come back and do some more, a little slower pace too. But it's fun though. It's exciting. It makes like everything you do matters. Every little piece of gear matters. Every little every encounter where you're like, oh man, like those close calls, like they get you pumping a little bit more,
So true. So we are looking at an absolute legend right here, guys. You know him, you love him. He won the Hardcore Community Cup #2. He is an absolute monstrosity of a hunter. I mean, is an absolute beast. I can't stress this enough. We're looking at Zerant Hardcore. He gave Ampi a run for his money in Hardcore Community Cup 1. It came down to a very slim margin, just a couple percentage points on XP separated them. I believe on the first one, North, they got to level, what was it, back in 27 or something like that? Like
it was, I think
it was
it might have been, 'cause they were killing the wolves.
They were in Duskwood, man. They were
Duskwood. Duskwood.
I remember he suicided over in the Sven Jorgen farm, which is high 20s. Like they were pumping, man. And Tactics made it high 20s as well. This dude won the last cup, and he's just an absolute beast. He has his own custom guideline. You familiar with Guideline, North? It's like a leveling add-on that you can either use like Ampi. Ampi's is publicly available, I believe. If you are want to get just access to a big brain leveling route, you can go download that. But you can also customize the guideline. And I asked Zerant, I said, "Yo, are you just using Ampi's one, or you have your own one?" He was like, "Nah, mine is it's his own guideline that he follows." And it was interesting seeing the differences that in playstyles between him and Ampi. Like they opted for different pets, it's slightly different pathing, but just an absolute beast. So it's really great to see him back in the tournament. He's definitely probably going to win this, I would say. Again, he's just getting better and stronger and stronger. It's one thing to just win a tournament one time, right? It's a whole nother beast to win it, or not by win it, it's not die twice in a row. This dude didn't die for 2 competitions in a row, right? Ampi died in the second one because he risked it so hard.
To push the way they do, that is impressive.
And not die.
I mean, to see... Yeah, and not dying and seeing people running, they're running around like you're saying, you're sub 10, sub 20%, like almost no mana, just like blah 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 blah, pull. Like that's the impressive thing, is it's like maintaining that focus for such an extended period of time without having any kind of ultimate like RNG failures, if you will. Where sometimes it's just like, oh, miss, crap, get crit, and then you just have a problem because of it.
I just find it amazing too that like 1 to 10 Hunter is some people's nightmare. They think it's the the roughest thing ever. Like it's just they think it's once you get through 1 to 10 Hunter, it's smooth sailing, right? And it's partially true, but in the right hands, 1 to 10 Hunter is actually an amenity. It is truly like an incredible 1 to 10 because you're dealing free, high physical damage. You're constantly moving, so you don't need to sit there and stop and cast the Corruption or cast the Shadow Bolt like some kind of inferior class. You just are constantly moving and pumping, engaging multiple targets at the same time with free, high physical range damage, the best kind of damage. So it's amazing to watch these guys in action, man.
Before Classic launched, Grizzly had I believe 2 leveling competitions sort of in house on our own private server, and I remember thinking the same thing that a lot of people think, right? Like the Hunter 1 to 10 is weak, and I was like, Mage 1 to 10 is where's it at? Where it's at, boys. Like Mage 1 to 10 is the best because me, I'm a big wizard buff, but. I after the first competition, Amp was just, he was head and shoulders above everyone else, on the 1 to 10 Hunter, which was, it was impressive. And he's the person who changed my mind about that 1 to 10. So
absolutely,
it's nice to see someone who could hold their own with Amp going at it and back here today. Is Amp participating?
Let's see. Let me see if he's on right now. He was in the last 2. We'll see if he's in this one. Going to Ampi. Nope, doesn't look like he's on today. So Zerant is in the clear right now. We'll see who else the other hunters are. I'll take a look at the streams. We'll pop back over to Tactics for a second. Another thing I was going to ask you guys, kind of off topic, but I've been dying to get some feedback on this. And, I mean, we're here with the Classic people, too, so I'm trying to get some honest feedback right here. What do you guys think? We've been trolling Shadowlands for like months and months. Everyone seems to be, I don't know if they're in Blizzard's back pocket or if it's actually a good game. All of a sudden it feels like the tone has shifted and people are like super hype about retail and wanting to play the alpha and all this.
Here's how much interest I have in that. It's a big fat fucking 0. Like, dude, until they get that shit out and somebody plays it for, you can play it for more than 30 minutes and tell me it's fun. Maybe I'll consider looking at it then. But dude, it's just like I got 0 interest in that, man. There's just nothing there. Like you're basically trying to take. What are you scaling everything down? So what? You're obsoleting all the rest of the content so you can level 1 to 50 in any zone, go to Shadowlands, do 50 to 60. Like, what's the whole point? You're just like everything you've done.
I don't think that's a weak point of it, to be honest.
I think the whole thing's stupid. Like I think retail is so far gone. It's just like
I think them
Dumb.
acknowledging that, though, acknowledging how far gone it is by just sort of obsoleting all of the content in between, I think that's a good acknowledgement, because short of making WoW 2, right, and just like starting over from scratch, that's their option, right? That's their
they
that's
have
their
nothing.
way of doing it.
Yeah,
That's their trump card, right? Like that's their back pocket move of, hey, bring it back to 60, you get some fan service abilities back in, they're adding so much stuff. They're de-pruning the abilities to try and get some of the class fantasy back for some of the classes. So
I think some of that.
I'm not.
So are you
wow,
looking forward
like,
to
I'm
it,
really-
North, or you're what?
I some of the things have looked fun. I'm still worried about the ecosystem of the game, because as much as people want to be like, oh, this certain Torghast looks cool, or they've added back some abilities, I think the main mechanics of the game, where it's just like, hey, you've got this artificial gating, you've got this, where you just you're fulfilling all your raids for the week, and then you're logging off, right? You're doing your weekly mythic pluses that you have to do. You're getting your caches, the garrison nonsense that has continued in the game, despite I think a pretty overwhelming amount of distaste for it. Just in the in like the mission table type atmosphere. I think like a lot of stuff they just aren't looking at changing still. So I'm not like excited for it. I'll play it, and I didn't play BFA.
Oh, you're
BFA
gonna
was the
play
first
it?
expansion
Okay.
where I didn't play. I will play it just because I have never really
Try
tried
it.
my hand at being good at arena in any way, and I kind of would be interested in seeing if I could. If the game is good, though. If I play it and it seems fun.
Damn.
Because when I played BFA, someone gifted me BFA because I was banned. It was when I got banned for playing private servers, and someone was like, here, I'll gift you BFA. You can try it out. It was so just actively unfun to me.
I almost
Like,
feel
Dude,
like
everything
I
about
leveled
it, like,
zero.
it's
I
just-
leveled 1 to 120, and I was like accidentally leveling. Like I didn't even like. That's the biggest thing. Like, oh, I leveled. Oh wait, I leveled twice. What the like? It feels so empty.
it feels weird though, right? Like there's a couple things here. Just unpacking. One, it feels Blizzard has severed some trust with the community when you look at the Warcraft Reforged. So there's almost like a little bit of a political point by for some people in not playing their new games and like wanting to play the old games that represented the old Blizzard. So there's that. A part of me also feels like it may be betraying a little bit of the classic community, since that's where pretty much what people signed up for. So it's the type of thing that I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I look at some of the zones, and some of the zones look all right, but then I just think to myself, they got these furry butt plug race, they got these mechanical
Yeah.
leopard gnomes, they got like void elves, all this type of stuff where it looks like League of Legends, and the game just doesn't look cool to me. But I don't know, man. I'm seeing a lot of the classic boys, even people like Guzu. I saw like Tips made a video. A bunch of these people
Well,
are
Guzu,
like,
right? Guzu is like those are the vanguard of people who quit private servers to go and play retail in their off time. Like they still find it fun. They're not. I'm not in the business of gatekeeping and be like, no, true. Like Guzu is I raided with him on K2 on my first server. He was one of my
did
best
you?
warriors. He's
Oh,
a
wow.
fantastic player. I love him.
he played in
Like,
K2. So he's been around for a
he's
hot
great guy.
minute.
Yeah, he's been, and I think he was around before that, right? I think he was around on Nost, if I'm not mistaken. So like I maybe K2 was his first server. I can't remember, but
I mean-
it's that's something that they have enjoyed. Like they played BFA for a while and they like tolerated it. And there's always, and this is the thing that I never. It seems like people forget about it every fucking time, and it blows my mind. Every expansion, it's the same rhetoric. It's the exact same rhetoric. It's this time, like this
That's-
time it's going to be different, right? Like, and they have it every time.
I feel like this thing, like they saw this massive, and yeah, they were working on it before Classic, but yeah, they had this massive drive for the Classic content, and they're like, well, how can we roll this into to retail and try to pull that audience into what retail has to offer? And I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, a true Classic player, someone who is like Classic to the core, is not going to want what retail has to offer. That's my opinion. I mean, but if people like it, I'm happy if you like it, and like I think I'll say what I think about it. But like if someone's enjoying it, dude, by all means, man, play it. Play your heart out. Love the shit out of it. If that's the game for you, play it. I don't care. But like for me, I'm just like nah. They have nothing that would convince me, and unless I see it out there for months and like all you bros are playing it, you're like, dude, it's actually good. And I'd be like,
what do you feel about the community too, though, man? I do feel like they are two different communities, man. There's some crossover, but it's definitely different, man.
This is something that I might catch some flack for, but and this is because it's such like a gamer, like it's just like a like gamer mindset. But like I don't know, I feel like the retail community is like substantially more soy than the classic community.
100%.
And that like
Yeah.
I really feel that, even though I feel like that's kind of cliche to say, but it's like I don't know, like
there's look at it this way too, and I'm not saying it specifically because of like age, but age is probably a factor. Look at the time frame in which players that are the average age of a player for that game. What are the age of the people that came out, or when they were out when Classic launched, versus what are the age of people that came out post Wrath? The player base.
I don't find like I'm not sure if it has to, like, it might have to do with age, but like just in the circles that I'm familiar with, it almost certainly does. But in the circles that I'm familiar with, like the Zoomers and like some of the younger, like the really young millennials, I feel like there are a lot of really young millennials who play like who are specifically like aged like 24 to 26, who play a lot of World of Warcraft. But even like younger than that, there are like like the 20-year-olds, the 19-year-olds, even like 17-year-olds that play Classic and like go actually really hard and are like not like they're kind of, they step outside of that, and you saw that even in like retail WoW, like back in the day, you had the 9-year-olds playing with like the 22-year-olds back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
They fit in, right? Like because I was one of those kids, like I like didn't talk for so many years on Vent because people thought that I was a little girl.
Yeah, the squeaker voice.
Yeah. People thought that I was a little girl, so
I was
like
kind
I
of a
wouldn't
squeaker
talk
a
because
little
they'd
bit.
be weird to me. They would be really weird after I ever talked, so I just wouldn't talk.
Xbox Live raging at people at Halo 2, people calling you a squeaker. That happened to me a couple
Yeah,
times.
exactly. Like it was it was hard out here, but like I felt like I really did like ultimately fit in, and I feel like that's one of the, like, I think just in terms of the way that older versions of World of Warcraft work, you aren't just logging in and doing your Mythic Plus and logging out. Like you're going on adventures with people. You know what I'm saying? Like you're spending so much time with people that you really get to know them, right? So it does include. I think it is ultimately more inclusive just because of how how much time you end up spending with these people and like the real friendships that you develop.
Yep, a huge draw to me is that interactivity. Like I've met people on private servers, and they are now my friends as of 5-6 years later. You know what I mean? Like we got phone numbers, we text each other. You send each other memes. You got this random, like rapport you have with them from all different walks of life. And I think that's one of the greatest parts about the game is like doing things together as a group to accomplish like a task.
And I think that's one of the real big calls of vanilla as well, because there's so much shit that you can do with like large enough numbers and enough like-minded people. It's the reason why I started a guild on Grobulus, is because I just wanted to do those things before vanilla was out. Like I didn't want to spend my whole time just like playing hardcore, not doing the things that I wanted to do as a group that you can really only do in vanilla, right? Having that worldly presence, having that kind of reputation before everyone just kind of sifts into the arena and raid simulator that TBC is, as fun as it is, right? Like it people don't have the same kind
arena
of
and raid
essence.
simulator that is TBC. I like that. I like that you have a differing opinion on it, because most people are on the TBC hype train right now. Where
People love
North
TBC,
is,
and
yeah.
I love TBC.
Do you?
I do
Okay.
love TBC.
Yeah.
I do love TBC. It's where
You like Mage in TBC?
Mage and TBC is really garbage.
Are you going?
It's fun. It's fun in arena. It's really fun in arena. And let me tell you what. Tier 5, which is my favorite tier. It's not my favorite instance. Right? SSC is not my favorite instance. And TK is not my favorite instance. My favorite instance is Old War. My favorite tier is easily T5. Because like in part because you're including some of the tier 4 1 bosses, right? Like you're including, Magtheridon feels more like tier 5 than tier 4, right? So you get like Magtheridon and Groll and SSC and TK, and you're still doing Karazhan as well, like most guilds. So there's so much involved in tier 5. Tier 5 really does feel like, to me, like peak rating. Just in terms of like difficulty being like fairly modular, fairly, there are some really easy bosses, and then there's Lady Vash, right? And then there's Kael'thas, right? Like, so there are the introductory bosses, and then there is this carrot on the stick that does feel very, very impactful. So I love the rating, the instances are so much fun. I didn't mind the dailies. I like the reputations. TBC is fun, but after playing Classic, and I didn't have this opinion until I started playing private servers, right? I wasn't like such like a diehard, like, oh my God, Classic. When I started playing it again, I was just like, oh, this is interesting. I don't really like retail. Maybe Classic, maybe vanilla will be fun. I enjoyed it back in the day. I didn't really get to play that much of it because I was 9 years old, and I had coloring assignments to finish. I had to get in between the lines. But other than that, right? I just really wanted to experience it, and after experiencing what are like the slower paced, community focused like aspects of Classic, it just it sings in a way that I don't think later versions of the game do.
The community aspect, though, but so you're feeling that right now. You made a new guild on Grobulus, right? And it seems like it's going really good. You got some good people in there. I know you got Namtar in there, Penny's in there. It seems like it's going well. You're feeling the good, strong community vibes right now.
Yeah, and when like a hop in voice, and then like we'll no matter what we're doing, we haven't fucking organized a single like large event as a guild yet, but it's just like when I'm on, and when I'm on, like when one of their officers on, like there might be 25 people online, which is not that many, but there'll be like 10 to 15 people in voice just shooting the shit, just people helping each other with title charm, helping each other with AGM, right? Grinding dungeons, boosting the guild, so it feels, I don't know, it feels really homey.
That's good, man.
It feels nice to that everyone's just kind of vibing out. So and we're prepping. We're gonna get some stuff rolling so that we're.
So there were transfers available to Grobulus. It was sealed off recently. You mentioned.
Yeah.
Was it starting to take? Was Grobulus starting to get degraded by a lot of the transfers, or it's been a strong server. We always point to it as one of the strongest, most vibrant servers. Has it changed at all recently?
I mean, speaking as someone who is in that transfer wave, I don't think the transfers have really negatively impacted it. But I think that we were on, if they had left it open, I think we would have gotten to that place. Either maybe there's some small amounts of damage that's been done. But
Incendious is the one you look at, right? You look at that one as a case study where that server was apparently vibrant and healthy, and now it's apparently I think it's a horde PD server now, right? As they say.
It's I think it's an alliance.
Oh, alliance piece. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
All
That's
the
like Scarab.
horde, abandoned, right? And you have this story happening over and over again, and it would have happened to Grobulus as well, not because of people leaving, but because of the influx. Like the queue would have caused people to quit, because you do have you have less hardcore players on RP servers in general, I think, who just want to be able to log on and play with their friends. Not even everyone's an RPer. There's a lot of non-RPers, but it is such a. I really do love the community out here. It's just really nice. It's to the point where I was actively griefing a world boss. What's the name of the boss that spawns in mushrooms? Emerus? Is it Emerus or Levin? I forget. I think it's Emerus. But that boss spawned, and it was the last one to die in the Nightmare Dragon spawning. And I rolled over there with a bunch of Twilight Hammers outfits that I had farmed, just to get the rep. I hadn't farmed it for RP purposes, and I started handing it out. And I just started shouting, "Doom! Death to the non-believers!" And I just would mushroom the raid every time. And I started recruiting members of people in the raid to kill it, who equipped the Twilight gear with me, and we were all RP walking around in circles, just yelling "Doom! Death! Destruction!" and just wiping the raid over and over again. And they finally got it after a 20-minute attempt, right, where they kept running back, and then hunters would res their pets and send them in, while they had the Mark of Nature debuff, so they would have gotten slept, but they're so far out of range, they're 100 yards. Barely in render distance, sending their pets in to keep it in, and I'm in with my cultist, shouting doom and destruction as we, wipe them time after time. And these hunters are doing their best to, to be far enough away that we can't kill them. And they finally got it down. And it was, no one was yelling at me, no one was calling me expletives, no one was shouting at me with gamer words. Some people were
gamer words,
fucking slimy piece of shit, but. Other than that, people were kind of, there's no real bad blood from it. It's just, it's all in good fun.
That's good, man. That's great. That's great.
Who do we have in the current running lead right now?
In the lead, it's hard to say in these early levels. I'm just trying to kind of pull up as many streams as possible. Right now, we're looking at a Dwarf Paladin getting a little Dun Moreau in our life. This is my man Sneecho, level 6, seems to be doing pretty good. I like how he has his treasure finding ratio on his bars. That's pretty nice. Can't forget about that. Get a little extra potions from the chest. Pretty huge. Shows the show that
it's pretty huge to have on the bars, though, right? You only have to reapply it when you die. You know what I'm saying?
So, that is true. You actually never have to reapply it in hardcore. People say that's one of the biggest perks of hardcore, that you never have to reapply any of that stuff because
never have to reapply fine minerals.
You get maximum value of all your potions.
Absolutely. And I'm pulling up Seamus, who's a longtime supporter of a lot of channels, Def Camp Melderons, myself. He's probably in yours too as well, Doc.
I thought this started at 1-2 PST. I missed
Oh,
it!
Criggs.
Exclamation mark.
There he is.
Heartbreak.
The TBC legend, the big pumper himself. Thank you very much for the 15 bucks, Quicks. I really appreciate that, man. It's not too late, man, if you want to jump in. There's not too many Warlocks, I don't think. But either way, bro, really good to see you. Big friend of the channel right there. We got Seamus up, though, right here. Let's see. He's in Mulgore. He went for the albino cow. An interesting-looking character. You never really see a Tauren looking like that. Honestly. This might be my first time.
That is, I don't think I've ever seen one. I honest to God, I don't think I've ever seen a white cow.
I don't think I've ever seen that skin
like
tone,
a fully white cow, which feels kind of weird because it's the stereotype, right? The white cow,
Yeah.
But it just looks jarring. It to be honest, it looks pretty ugly. I'm not gonna lie to you.
One of the first warriors we see of the day, though, right? We'll scan around. I mean, again, last time in HCC 2, we had a warrior come in second place, Iron Chump, who couldn't make it today, unfortunately.
What race?
He was an orc warrior, Iron Chump. He came in second place, and he actually did a very strange route. He didn't pick up first aid, and he made it to.
That blew my mind. He didn't get first aid.
What did he make it to? Like 1920 or something within the times, bro. It was actually really, really solid time in 8 hours.
He was up there.
Yeah, and he went.
Lorby is 8 on the warrior.
To be honest, I think if you got there's a warrior in Grizzly who he every game that he plays, he's amazing at it. And he's legitimately like I feel like he knows all these pros, and he's just kind of like always surrounding like scenes. He plays a lot of PoE, but Odang, I think if Odang went in this, I remember doing the Grizzly leveling competitions, and they were in duo, so it wasn't as if he was completely solo the way through. But his 1 to 10 was completely solo, and his 1 to 10 was beating out like every other mage that wasn't myself.
Damn.
Right, like he was really, really, really piping that human warrior. So I'd be interested to see some players that I know like try and get in on this in warrior, because I feel like warrior's probably it's definitely an underrepresented class in hardcore. Right?
We got it. So here's Blorby, like you said, level 8 already. That's pretty freaking good, dude. Well, let's see here. It's level 8, and we've been going for 53 minutes now. That's set to make a pretty good time. 53 minutes. We're looking.
He's looking solid.
That's looking real good. He's about 20% of the way in.
A lot of people I'm just scanning are like 6, 7-ish.
Yeah.
Quissy's 7.
Let's compare him with Zerant right now. So he's 8. He's like 20% of the way into 8. Let's see Zerant. Watch Zerant be like 15. No way. Let's see. The God Gamer Zerant is about to actually do a pretty dangerous quest. We can watch this for a second here. He's going to take out... what's his name? Lord Menethil or something?
Shout out for a fun event, Grob Gang. What guild does North run on Grob?
No, he's about to take out this NPC called Lord Menethil.
Okay. There was a paladin streamer on Sulfurous at one point.
Yo, Disco. Thank you very much for the $5, man. Shout out for the fun event, Grob Gang. What guild does North run on Grobulus?
Unhinged.
There it is. They are new. Alliance. Got some good people in there. You guys seem very active in your Discord and stuff. Are you guys recruiting?
Of course, we're openly recruiting. We're about to end open recruitment though. We're starting our I finally got the fire lit under my ass because I was siphoning off from another guild's pug run that actually they gave us bindings in their run to complete one of our Thunder Furies last week, like our first Thunder Fury. With the guy who's had it since phase 1, and the binding dropped, and he had the other one, and the other guy was an alt, so and he was a DPS warrior with Grand Martial Sword, so he was like, you can take the binding, which was really, really nice of them because they had them on reserve. So feels good.
Yeah, feels good, man.
But then a BRE dropped, so we had BRE, I believe it was BRE Onslaught Crown of Destruction dropped off Ragnaros, right? It was a pretty shitty loot run besides the bindings. Maybe manning that in Cord. That's
good drops from Rag.
Great drops from Rag. I was 1 of 2 reses on BRE, and last time I rolled on a BRE on my warrior, I was gonna give it to one of my warriors in guild if I won it, because I don't play that much on my warrior, especially in PvP. But I'd rolled on one before, and I rolled a 93. I lost it with a 93.
Damn.
I was 1 of 2 people who resed it, and then this time I rolled like a 23 against a 50. And I lost my second BRE on my warrior.
Dude, BRE slaps in PvP. We have this one warrior now.
I was so sad. Because the warrior who would have gotten it, the warrior that I would have given it to, was the warrior who got the Thunder Fury. So he would have gotten a Thunder Fury and a BRE same run.
Wow.
So
That is insane. What a run.
Wow.
You know the bat boss in ZG. There's a mind control on the trash before the boss. We had one of our we had roll buffs going into ZG, right? And one of the warriors got MC'd, and you usually don't kill whoever's MC'd, right? That's like the you don't want to do that and make them lose all their world buffs. But since he had BRE on, which is so good. Or do you? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had BRE. We call him Mr. BRE. He's like 99% parse life. Just big slapper with the BRE. Somehow he makes it work. He does massive damage. 1.2k DPS. But he just started one-shotting everybody in the freaking raid, man. So we ended up losing like 4 or 5 people due to Mr. BRE getting mind controlled. So it makes you think like maybe you gotta sheep them or do something, right? Sheeping them is the best play, right? So it'll mitigate.
You get that 3 stack on the trash, so he's getting the 99s in the PvP encounter, dude. That's good.
Exactly. Yep. So Zerant, he never drops combat. He's killing Lord Menopause right now, and he never drops combat. So you don't know what level he is. You just never know.
I think he's 8.
Is he?
I thought it popped off a moment ago.
Okay, let me change his timer, like I said before I forget. Timer's going middle.
He's not even his XP. He doesn't have his XP or his level on the bars. Come on.
No need. He just goes.
You just keep going.
He is level 8 though.
He has his speedrun splits on the top left, yeah. So 8, okay. So yeah, he's up there with Blorby right now. That's pretty sweet.
And he's gotten a damn good time. Like, what is his split? His split is like 3 minutes faster than.
Bro, he is killing 3 mobs at a time in this death cave.
With no mana.
Is he gonna make it out of this?
Oh, God.
Oh, there's another hunter. Okay.
Golly.
By the way, guys, if anybody in chat, if you guys are picking up death clips or you're having any kind of exciting calls on any of the streams you're checking in on, or if you yourself are streaming and you've got something that's kind of exciting to share, feel free to drop those links in chat so we can pull those up for a quick look-see.
Absolutely. We got to see if Alenia's playing too. I'm dying to see. Oh no.
She was not on earlier. I looked.
Okay.
She was in chat though.
What level is Graze right now?
Who's
playing the other priest? The first person we tuned into. Who's playing?
Graze is 7 last I checked.
Graze is 7 on the druid, but who's playing the priest?
The other priest. There was Tactics, and then there was another one that was. Let's see what the level Tactics is.
Tuna and Tactics are both on priest.
Yeah, Tactics. Tuna just hit level 7.
Okay.
So he's hitting the good. He's hitting the good stride on like the Teldrassil route. He's about to hit like the. I think he's just went through like one of the big bursts, so he's gonna be in a bit of a lull. But Teldrassil's still such a fantastic zone.
Especially that Dark Shore though, man. Get the Dark Shore.
Dude, right into the Dark Shore feels so good, dude. That burst to like level 12, 13.
I was trying to understand because I don't really like Dark Shore like visually. It kind of makes me feel like bad, it just makes me feel bad. It's just like kind of a dreary kind of like wet, gloomy environment, which maybe is good because it's very ambient and stuff. But like, I would much rather spend my time in Westfall for purely, just the aesthetics, looks, feel, nostalgia, all of the above, right? Like I'm counting every second while I'm in Dark Shore. I don't really like being in Night Elf zones in general, but I was trying to dissect why Dark Shore has such a legendary reputation for being so good when it comes to XP per hour. And the best words I ever got was from Navik, who helped the chief architect of the Classic WoW Live leveling guide. He was just saying compare the density of quests in Westfall to Dark Shore, and really think about it. Like, think about how many quests Westfall has. Westfall has just a couple quests that are just sporadic and all over the place. Dark Shore has so many absolutely free quests that you just do one little mini thing and you get full value from a quest. And there's like 30 quests in Dark Shore. So when
Westfall was one of the last zones they actually worked on. So it's like they never, to my knowledge, they never actually got it to the place where they, where it was as complete as Dark Shore. So you look at Dark Shore as one of the, I think one of the early zones that they worked on. So it has so many of the quests in it. Same thing with Barrens. Barrens is one of the earlier zones that they actually created. Whereas you look at the like the Westfall Redridge route, and it's a fine route, but it looks kind of weird in terms of how sporadic it was, and that was because like they were kind of like on the last, like they were like pushing for release when those zones were being done, to my knowledge. I'm not 100% on that, but I remember reading that somewhere. So I think that's part of why they look so sporadic. And even though right, like even though they are like such shit zones compared to like Dark Shore, I never did Dark Shore when I was a kid. you know, I stuck to Westfall and Red Ridge, and I just, you know, was like grinding fucking harvest golems and shit, because I didn't know where to be. But like even despite like the sporadic nature, it's just such a big and open and beautiful zone. You know, it's such an iconic zone for
the pedals, man.
We're back.
Pedal to the metal with Aussie here, dude. I love this. I love this guy's setup.
North hasn't seen this. North, dissect this. Dissect what we're seeing right here, North. What are we looking at, North?
what.
North.
wait.
What are we looking at, North?
What the hell? What?
I need North.
Does he have to? He moves with the pedals. Is that
correct?
Is this like a fitness thing?
Yes.
Like I don't understand.
Correct. True hardcore challenge engaged. My man Aussie Hero, relentless. He's back at it again.
I love this setup. I wish I had this.
Flags, man. I love the flags. I mean, he stays true to the name.
My wifey's been telling me, hey, I gotta get you a standing desk because it's healthier, right? Fuck a standing desk. This is next level. This is like elliptical mode while you're playing games. Like this is like to play the game. You need to do the
What's that bike that the new popular one that goes like the online classes? It's got like a built-in screen on the bike. I can't think what it's called, but
I see that.
They do the show like somebody's got to buy that, strip that shit down, and turn that into like a gaming console.
That is
the Peltron. The
Watch your
Peltron
streams on it while you're playing. Feels good.
Dude, he's probably. How many calories do you think you burn, guys? If you did 1 to 10. And you had to walk the whole way. Like I wonder how much he has to. Maybe we can figure it out as he pedals.
That's why I want VR MMOs, dude. I want to just be able to like lose my soul in an MMO, dude. Like I just want to.
Just go into the Matrix.
Like I'm an actual. Yeah,
that's the Matrix at that point.
Though.
Yeah.
I've started like in part because I'm just, you know, like I haven't I'm trying to like get a more consistent sleep schedule, and part of the way that I'm trying to make it more consistent is I've started like keeping a dream journal and waking up at the same times and like, you know, trying to lucid dream again, which is really fun because, you know, as much as I like to LARP with the pipe and the hat, I can't actually shoot fireballs in real life. But, you know, you roll up in a lucid dream, you can just throw whatever fire you fucking want at whatever you want, which is I don't know, I guess just spend more time as a wizard. Feels good, dude.
I think we got our first death clip, man. We'll take a look at it in a second here. I think it's coming from one of the people in the chat as well. Sharon. No, say it ain't so, brother. We'll take a look at it in a second. Kind of a weird question, though. Would anybody here, knowing what we know... You guys all saw The Matrix, right? The movie? Like, the first one?
Mm-hmm.
No, I've never heard of that ever.
Yeah, great. You never know, man. Grace for days never saw it.
Oh, my God. Look at his follow clip, dude.
That's amazing, dude.
That is so good. Dude, I love it.
This guy's kind of a legend.
I love it.
How did he even set that up? He has another camera down at foot level. Like, this guy is insane.
I love it, dude. That follow clip is money.
I
can't even.
Yo, if I could set this up, I would. If I had a large enough brain to set this up. This looks kind of fun.
He said he did all of it himself. I think he had to do a little research and like wire it up and do a couple of things, a little bit of programming and whatnot. But it was all kind of like home researched and created. So I think that's really an awesome thing because you're turning what is generally a sedimentary, process into something that's helping burn you some calories. I mean, it's not rock face like climbing and stuff, but man, you're burning calories.
Bro, imagine you can play WoW and you're leveling, right? It's not like you're doing something that requires tons of APM like PvPing or whatever at North. Like imagine you're just leveling, but when you're done with your leveling session, you burned like 1,000 calories.
Yeah, it feels good.
Not to say you would need
I've thought about that before. I've thought about like having a bike under the desk. It would be kind of legit. Just like even
the thing is you would forget though. If you had a bike,
I'm constantly just like hitting my legs together anyway. Like I'm constantly because I'm pretty ADD, so I just
me too.
I'm constantly like shaking my legs anyway.
I'm tapping my left leg right now as we speak.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a good outlet.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, so I have foot pedals, right? I have 2 foot pedals, these plastic ones you get on Amazon for like $40, and you can bind those to anything. So like, I imagine you could bind walk to one of those. So maybe it's the same type of thing. You buy a bike that plugs into the computer that might already exist, and then you just buy
a USB bike. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Kind of low key curious, man, and I
find some game that requires you to pedal like hella fast, we start getting everybody with bike wheels. We have like a race or some shit.
It's the new challenge, dude.
It's like a car driving game that the gas is your pedals.
That's hilarious, bro. My question though is, knowing what we know about the Matrix, you could live. Would anybody opt to live in the Matrix? Because there's some parallels between WoW and World of Warcraft and the Matrix. Like, you're spending a lot of your time improving this character in game. Which is, it's kind of like the Matrix a little bit already. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, if you could pick what you got to do and like who you were, like, you could like just decide who you were gonna be.
What if you were a baller and like super handsome and like had lots of money and you lived, but you lived in like it was like a fake world.
So it'd be like real life right now, then, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, or the opposite. Yeah. I'm saying it. Okay. So imagine you could have $10 million and look like and just be like the most handsome, whatever you would want to look like.
I get what you're saying.
Would you do it?
I feel like it'd be weird to not look like me, though.
Yeah.
Would you be? I don't know. I mean, like, why not? Like, if it doesn't matter. Like, if it's as real as like the dude that turned into the movie, right? He's like, yeah, it's real to me. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm
if it's
saying.
that real.
Well, North is saying he's looking for VR MMOs. Like, you're moving closer to that point. Is what I'm saying. They have this new game out.
I mean, I know. I mean, at the end of the day, like, if it's not, they're using humans as like a battery source. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you remember Matrix, right? Like, they initially tried in the initial versions of the Matrix, what the robots, in lore tried to do was make a paradise, and people like rejected the paradise. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least in lore, I don't think that would actually happen, but they felt unsettled unless there was like that dynamic. So I mean, is it really all that different? Like what good are they actually fighting for in the Matrix? I forget. Like, what are the robots? Are the robots like killing them off? They're just using them for power.
Yeah.
Like, what is it ultimately, right? Like, it's some kind of,
yeah.
I don't know, like, they're fighting for some kind of self-autonomy, I guess, but at the end of the day, is that more important than being happy?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing,
probably.
right? This is getting big brain right now. But like their reality is like shitty and dark, right? And they live in like some like post-apocalyptic wasteland in these big like mecha tunnels and stuff like this underground or something like this. And then the reality, well, here.
But they're free, right? But it's like, is that really worth it?
Well, have you heard of this VR chat thing? It's very popular amongst the Zoomer population.
Of course.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have things like VR chat where, you go in there and you look like some anime princess. Have you seen this? And you're like in there talking, and you're like walking around in like mini skirts and stuff like that. And then this thing, I see these things. I don't search for this, bro.
Dude, that's some next level internet trolling, dude.
But my YouTube recommends you strange stuff, right? We've all been there. Like, it recommends you the most random videos. I'm sitting there, and all these VR chat things keep popping up, and I'm like, what is this?
Random.
Yes,
anime
right.
princess skirts.
No,
skirts,
dude.
Random cargo.
Not a weeb, dude.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
What was that?
All right. I already know your search history, brother. No,
God.
you don't have to sit here and lie to me.
Yikes, dude. Yeah, there's a difference, like I said, between the modern day weeaboos and then the people who like anime, who grew up with anime. Like, when you guys all grew up like watching DBZ and watching all that type of stuff. That's a different breed, man. That's the type of anime.
I don't know. There still are some good, like, they're good animes. Like, they're like, I'm not like into anime, but there are some good animes. Like, I fuck with like Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah,
like Cowboy Bebop.
Definitely, man. Samurai Champloo.
Like the occasional anime, yeah. It's just like some of the weeb shit that's in it though. Is a little weird, but so you look past it. But like the extra weeb shit, it's like, I don't know. When people like get into it because it's anime, like it's weird when people hate it because it's anime, but it's also weird that people just like it because it's anime. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Like when people are just obsessed with it on the basis of it being anime, that shit just creeps me out.
Nah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah, when you buy a body pillow, man, it's too much. Anyway, we're enduring through another ad here because I have two ad blockers running. I have uBlock and I also have ad block, and they both can't keep up with the power level increase of the Twitch ads. So it's hit or miss sometimes. We're back over to Tactics Law right now. My man is level 8. Just dinged level 8. And again, this is what I'm saying right now at level 8. Let me turn the volume on for a second. Let's take a look at this guy, right? Okay, first of all, check out his bag situation. Let me shift the screen up a little bit. You can't see it. Okay, he's taking Blessed Run to a whole nother level right now. Let me show you this.
The mage from
Let me shift this up a little bit so you can see.
He's on the.
That's why he did it.
Hold up, hold up.
I would do the same to
Hold
me.
up.
Like, I'm not really
Alright, let me shift this up.
where I can,
Check out
like, get mad about
his
it,
bags.
because I would do the exact same.
He has 3 drops at level 8. He has black, red, and green. Amazing. I mean, that's amazing luck. He also has the woolen bag, which you get for free from doing the canvas scrap quest. But inventory-wise, he's in fantastic shape. But here's my issue with the level 8 priest, man. These levels drag because you don't have Mind Blast.
I gotta steal the egg.
You're pretty much just smiting stuff. Is he even bothering with Shadow Word Pain? I don't even think so because
I
it's
think
so
Shadow Word
weak.
Pain's too inefficient. You know, it's so much mana at early levels.
Well, it's just so weak at this early level too, at 8, because you get it, I think, at 4 or something, and then you don't get another one till 10. So it just tickles them.
Ooh,
It just tickles them. Yeah, I think he's just smiting. He's
that's
not
rough.
even- Yeah, look at this. No Shadow Word Pain. This is what I'm talking about. Like the kill speed on Priest is a big yikes right now. They drag through these levels.
Tuna's riding his ass right now. Tuna's like maybe 5 bars behind. So and I think you get that sick fucking power level increase when you hit into the Dark Shore route. So you know,
He's gonna have it again.
I don't know, man. He could be in a run for his money right here.
It's true. Yeah, let's pop over to Tuna and see how he's doing.
See if he
It's a matchup between Alliance and Horde too.
We had another death. We had WoW Fidelio died. I'm trying to ask him if he's got a clip.
Oh
He
no.
went out at 6.
Tuna Tornado, man. This guy did Classic WoW well, that wasn't Classic WoW, but we did a World of Warcraft Trivial Pursuit over on Quissy's stream. Really nice guy. He makes content over on YouTube as well. Knowledgeable dude about WoW. Just a nice guy. It's glad to see him doing this competition. Shout out to you, Tuna Tornado, man. All right, let's take a look at that death clip I had queued up too. We had that. We never really took a look at it. If you have it too, Doc, and throw it in there.
I don't know if I have. I don't. I asked in his chat, but I don't know if he's got it or not because he didn't respond.
All right.
It's probably worthless, but
Let's check this out.
for me, it's
So we'll go right towards the end of this. Okay. Well, starting to see what's going to happen. He's entering the Tiergard Keep. Something bad is going to happen here, for sure. So what is that? Is that an energy? What is
Yeah,
what
that's
is
just
it?
an energy tick.
Like a mana tick.
Energy
It's a mana tick that just runs. It's 5 seconds, so it runs when he spends mana, it runs the 5 seconds back, and then when he's not spending mana, it'll run the 2 seconds for every tick.
And it shows in a
Being caught out of combat. It's nice.
a really big chunky way, just your actual mana with a number. I kind of like it, man. Even though it seems kind of redundant, I really like how big and easy to see the visual cue is before you get that 5 second tick, that spirit based mana regeneration tick, and you see it on both ends. Your mana ticking back up, and then how long it's gonna. Dude, that's a
I like
gem.
that.
Yeah, I really like it.
My only
like
issue
it.
with those things, like, because as a mage specifically, is that those don't actually, like, they're not that good because you need to know when the 2 second mana tick is always, because mage evocate turns on your mana regardless of the 5 second roll. And I don't really, like, I can count 5 seconds from when I start. Like, it's not, I'm not like, oh god, when's the next tick coming back? Like, that's not going to change things. Whereas, like, knowing when the next tick is going to go through for the evocate is actually such a huge deal. So the only tick that I've ever found that works consistently and looks nice is just the one that's built into Luna. So I've always used that one just because it's always just worked for me, like, worked well for me.
Gotcha.
But like, I wish it were like central. Like, you see how it's like central in that screen. I really like, you know, how central it is to the
Me too, man.
to the UI.
He's got a green pouch. He's got 5 potions, dude. That is
Big money.
Potions are huge, man. I'm telling you, man. Potions are.
Health and mana. Health and mana. Health and mana.
He's got his wand macro on the bottom left there, put up in advance, so he doesn't even have the wand yet, but he has it there, just thinking ahead, which is really good. This guy's a pumper. Like, this is not just some average Joe Schmo giving it just a shot off the top, like barely focused. Like this dude had a plan. He had macros in place. He has the UI all set up clean on a fresh character. He was giving this a legit shot. So the fact that he goes down here at some point is kind of a heartbreaker. I also like this. Is that a questy where they show the exclamation point above their head showing that you need that for a quest? That's also a nice little touch too. I don't see that on many.
Yeah, it's a little more visual than like just the little loot bag or like certain other
I
things
prefer
that
the
pop
little
up.
loot bag or something less like aggressive. I don't like.
I'm acclimated to it, but
Bro,
like
yeah.
I don't play with questy at all. Like even when I level my characters, that's why I'm like a little less interested in like a hardcore route as well, just because I'm not. I like to take things slow when I level. I'm not super.
You just kind of do
I'm
the
not
ones
super
you've done, and and you're like, yeah, I like this one, I like that
Yeah,
one,
and
I
if I
don't like
find
this
and if
one.
I find an old like a new quest, like I'll just kind of wing it, right? Like I just go, and if I find a new quest, it'll be like, wow, it's cool. Like, let's figure it out. Let's find out.
Dude,
Too much
you
commit,
hate to
too much
see
commit.
it. Let me go back here. So he engages Benedict with 20% mana. I think he was being a little greedy trying to get the tag over this other person in here, which was a smart play. But the thing that I'm curious about is why does he kite him all the way out here? I think he was maybe overthinking it. You know how sometimes you go into a situation and
He's
you
looking for the regen, and he kites him out too far.
yeah.
I was gonna say that, yeah, that or it could have been.
Time. He's not spending any mana here. You'll notice his tick is going off
Yeah,
the
and
entire time. He's just looking for the smart play. Like as soon as he has enough